Assalamu alaikum. Hey everybody, welcome to Easy Max. In this video, I will show you how to create a modern kitchen from scratch using 3ds Max and Corona Renderer. This tutorial is perfect for anyone who wants to improve their interior design and realistic rendering skills. Let's get started. أصدقائي العرب في هذا الفيديو راح نتعلم سوا كيف نصمم مطبخ مودرن من البداية للنهاية باستخدام 3ds Max وكورونا رندرر. الفيديو موجه لكل شخص حاب يطور نفسه في التصميم الداخلي والرندر الواقعي. وبالمناسبة راح أرفع نفس هذا الفيديو بنسخة كاملة باللغة العربية إن شاء الله خلال أيام، فاشتركوا بالقناة وفعل جرس الإشعارات علشان توصلك أول ما تنزل. خلونا نبدأ. Let's start by setting up our units properly. Always an important first step, so let's make sure we're working in centimeters to match real-world measurements. Now, as the units are set, let's move on to the tool I use to speed up the kitchen cabinet creation. It's the kitchen cabinet generator. This is a really helpful script that saves a lot of time when building base cabinets, wall cabinets, surfaces, even colors, materials, wood, marble. I'll show you how I use it and what options it gives in this video. Alright, now let's start modeling our first base cabinet. I'll keep it simple so you can understand the basic structure. We'll begin with the cabinet box itself, then we'll create the door. I'm not adding too much details yet, just getting the shape and the size right. Make sure you follow my measurements and details on your first try, then you can try to explore the script by yourself when you finish this tutorial. As we finished with our cabinet, let's pick our door and then set it to fit our base cabinet. As you can see, there's a lot of types in here. There's modern, classic, built-in handles doors, and even glass doors. But I prefer to model a modern kitchen in this tutorial. So I'll pick this one. Make sure to create and convert without adjusting any measurements. In this part, I will try to fit the door to our cabinet, mainly using the snap tool to fit it to the cabinet surface. And then adjust the sides using the vertices. It's an easy and fast process and doesn't require a lot of experience in modeling with Max. Now, as we finish the first cabinet, I already made another one by copying it. Now to the other important part of the kitchen, which is the drawers. There's a lot of options to pick from the script, but I mainly use this one. Make sure to follow my measurements here. I will try to create two large drawers in this part. I will take the measurements into account. It's okay if you don't get it right, as long as you know how to model. Then you can just perfect it later with the practice. What's important now is to model and get familiar with how to move inside Max and how you deal with the different kinds of drawers and cabinets. Now, I will create the countertop, the surface that goes on top of the base cabinets. I usually keep this simple. Just make sure it fits correctly. I'll start by using a basic rectangle and fit it over the cabinets. I'll give it a shell modifier of a 1.5 centimeters, then convert it to editable poly to make it easy to model later. As for the back edge, I usually create a shape using the rectangle. Make sure to follow my measurements, which are 2.5 by 2.5 centimeters, to make it like a real life measurement. I will convert it to editable spline and choose one of the vertices, this vertex, and use fillet to create a curve. Create the curve or the fillet makes two more vertices. I don't usually use the curves in this part of the tutorial. You'll know why later. So I'll convert it to corners. Now I'll convert it again to editable poly. Then I will give it a shell modifier. I know I had to put the shell before the editable poly, so it's okay. I will convert it again. Right then, I will adjust it. If you're not familiar, you can just make sure to activate this snap, the rotation snap tool. If you don't activate it, it won't snap to like angles, 90 angle or 180 angle. You can just adjust it later. So I will adjust my current back edge to fit my surface. And make sure it covers the whole back of our cabinet surface. I'll slide this here, slide this there, and that would be all. And now let's start building the wall cabinets. Same idea as the base ones. I'll make one cabinet at the door and then put it in the correct place. Make sure to follow my measurements. Now, as you can see, the door is flipped and we'll try to fix it. We'll go to mirror and try to flip it on the z-axis. As you can notice, it doesn't work well. In this case, we'll go to the hierarchy, affect pivot only, and then center to the object. Now I'm centering the pivot of the object to the center of the object. I'll go back to the mirror, flip it on the z-axis. Now works well. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. Unisolate it. Then I will place it above the surface of the cabinet by 60 centimeters, which is the standard measurement. We've already created the rest of the wall units and a simple shelf to complete the upper part of the kitchen layout. Next, I will add the main kitchen appliances, the sink, the stove, and the hood. For this part, I used an external resources to get my assets. You can use the kitchen cabinet generator script to download the faucet and the sink. Also, you can get the sink and the other assets from Chaos Cosmos, or you can bring in your own assets. I left something undone just to show you how I model it. I'm using the vertices mainly to adjust the size of the object to fit it where I want it and to use it where I want. When you want to copy any element from within an editable poly, you can just Control, Shift, and drag the element to an axis. And that's how I created the shelves on the right of our kitchen layout. Here I will remove it because I don't want it. So I'll make a space for the hood. Next, I will be adding the kitchen appliances. I'm starting here with the sink. As you can see, I'm isolating the objects that I want to work with. Here I will put the kitchen under uh, the surface and then fit it where I want. Unisolate it. As you can see, it's larger than the cabinets. So I'm using the modifier, which is FDA 2 by 2 by 2, and edit the control points just like the vertices. These work just like the vertices in the editable poly. So I'll select these points, move it there, these points too, move it there, and I think it fits now. All right. Now I will need to make a hole for our sink. I'm going to use the quick slice method, which can be accessed by pressing Alt and 1. For your information, this method doesn't work if the surrounding lines are not vertical or horizontal. I mean, if there was a curve in one of the surrounding lines, it won't work. And then you will need to use the tool slice within the editable polygeometry options to slice it. Now it fits correctly. What's left is the elements from the cabinets below the sink. I will pick them, pick the upper side of this element, and press shift and go down the z-axis. It won't affect the cabinet, and it doesn't show in the render. Now, after that, I'll fit in the stove and hood using the same method. Now it's time to choose the materials. I'm using some pre-made ones, and I will also grab a few from Chaos Cosmos. I will show you how I apply them to each part of the kitchen. Here I will adjust the reflection level and the glossiness level. I'm working with a material which is a semi-matte or semi-glossy. You can work with full glossy and you can work with full matte, but there's nothing realistic that is full matte. This is for your information. I'll select the parts that I want and deselect the parts that I don't want the material to be assigned to. This one too. And then I will assign it. For this element, which makes the surface, I will make the reflectivity and glossiness higher than the doors. Yeah, 0.85 is good. I will assign it to the surface. And here you go. As you can see, the texture is not showing. What we can do is to apply the UVW map modifier. It should be used to put the textures into place and fit them to the size of the object. With that, we can manipulate the location, rotation, and the scale of the texture. This should be used with materials that has images or textures, and it's not necessary to use it with the plain textureless materials, such as the doors materials. Before going into lighting, I like to clean up the model and check if there is anything missing from my scene. You can see I'm deleting the toe kick. I'm gonna leave only one and then the attach it from the cabinet. That's why I'm going to give different amounts of chamfer to different types or different objects of my scene. I do chamfer the edges, so there are no sharp corners. It makes the render look more realistic and natural. I do mention this before earlier in this video. I didn't leave the curved shape. Otherwise, I made it to into corners and just to chamfer it at the end. So it gives me more options and I can control the amount of chamfer I can give. And by that, our scene or our kitchen layout is done. The only thing left is the lighting. I do use a simple lighting in here. I can use more complex lighting, but let's start with this. I do use the line and go into rendering, enable and rendering and enable and viewport, and pick radial. So like this, it's like a lead strip. The only thing left is to apply the light material, which I use the Corona light material. I usually put the intensity to 5 and then apply it. Simple as that. I already have a pre-made room with basic lighting and a camera. Now I will adjust the lighting and the camera angle. I'll make sure the light looks natural and the composition is clear. So follow me up. As you can see, my camera is outside of the room and the wall is blocking my view. What I should do is go to the environment and clipping and enable clipping. I will increase the near amount so it clips the nearest wall. Now my view is available and I can see what's inside this room without deleting or affecting the natural light or the lighting of my current scene. Now we go into render setup. I'm gonna use my own settings. I usually use this ratio, this aspect ratio, and this quality. And make sure to pick the Corona high quality on the denoising. Oh, another important thing is to lock the viewport to the camera viewport. So when using the interactive rendering, it will not change into the top viewport when I click it. And make sure to press Shift and F to activate the safer frame. This allows you to see what is going to be rendered in your scene, depending on your aspect ratio. As you can see, our lighting is a little faint and I forgot to activate the light mix. So I'm going to adjust the lighting and then activate the light mix to get better view. As you can see now, our scene is lit well. And when I press the top viewport, the interactive rendering will not change into the top viewport and will stay at the camera viewport. See when I change the camera position, uh, it does not flip or change into the top position because I locked the camera viewport before. Okay, so this is the perfect angle for our viewport. Um, we can just control the lighting from the light mix which we enabled before. I can change the color from here. I prefer using the Kelvin. Uh, as you can see, when you lower the number, it goes warmer. But I prefer to use a white light with this kind of color and modern design. Let me adjust this for a bit because it's lifted a little bit over the surface of our ground and now looks good. As we finished everything, let's head out to our final render. I will let the image render and then get back to you when it's finished. As you can see, the render reached 3% noise level in 8 minutes. The scene is pretty simple, has a pretty lighting. I usually stop the render at 3% noise level or limit it before I render, so when it reaches 3% it stops automatically. Now we can here adjust the light a little bit to get better lighting. You can see this is the post tab. I'm using Corona 12. Update 1 hotfix 1. There's something called auto adjust. When you press it, it auto adjusts the exposure and white balance depending on our lighting. But it somehow here became too strong, so I'm gonna lower the strength. So I think this is good. Let's save it and export it to Adobe Photoshop when we do a little post-processing. So we're here on Photoshop. We can just go to camera raw filter or press Shift, Control, and A. This window appears and it has a lot of stuff on the right. We can increase the clarity a little bit. That would be good. A little texture. Okay, let's see the before and after. This looks good. Increase the contrast between the white and blacks. The highlights controls the how much light is is hitting the object, so it become illuminated. Shadows, blacks, this increase uh, the amount of illumination in the blacks or whites, and shadows. I think this is good. It's a little bit tweaking, and yeah, this is good. Okay, there's a difference. Let's press OK and save our final shot. So let's take a look at our final shots. It has high quality, low noise. As you can see, the edges look smooth. There's no sharp edges. The doors, look at the toe kick. The surface look neat. Let's take a look at the shelves. They look nice. It's chamfered well. Not too chamfered, not too little. They look like real wood. Let's take a look at this part where it has the lighting. The lighting is pretty good, pretty normal. Looks like a LED strip. It doesn't look like very real LED strip, but it gives the wholesome idea. And that's it. That's our final rendering and the final shot. You can just get something like this by following what I showed you in this tutorial. If you found this helpful, drop a like and let me know what you think in the comments. Got any question or an idea for the next video? I'm always reading your feedback. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the Arabic version if you're curious. See you in the next one. أصدقاء العرب، إذا عجبك الفيديو لا تنسى تحط لايك وتكتب لي رأيك في الكومنتات، وإذا عندك أي سؤال أو فكرة لفيديو ثاني اكتبه وإن شاء الله أنا متابع التعليقات. واشترك إذا مشترك بالقناة حتى توصلك الإشعارات إذا نزلت أي فيديو جديد، واستعد إن شاء الله لنسخة الفيديو باللغة العربية. شكرا لكم ونشوفكم في الفيديو الجاي.